Hi, this is Analytics, and welcome to another lesson. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts or questions in the comments. Let's get started. In this video, we're going to learn how to use index columns in Power Query. We'll see how to add index columns, and we will see an example of how an index column could be useful in your data model. I have a table. This is the table we're going to use for this lesson. And if you know some accounting, you will recognize it. It's a chart of accounts. And the chart of accounts is a list of accounts that are used in accounting. And this list of accounts, it has a preset order. It has to respect a certain order according to the accounting standards. And the accounts could have codes and not necessarily the codes, especially the short codes, which is the data in this second column. These short codes not always are in the right order as the order that the account names were supposed to follow. So maybe the codes won't be very helpful in organizing your data and sorting out your data in the right order. So maybe you will need an index column to solve this problem. I'm going to load, this is an Excel file, and I'm going to load this file in Power BI, and let's do it. Okay, I've already loaded the data in Power Query, in Power BI, Power Query, and if you have been following us, you already know how to do it correctly. And you can see we've also done this in previous videos. We know that the first row was supposed to be the column header, so I'm going to use the first row as headers. We have done this before in previous lessons. And the first column, I will change the data type to text. And the second one, actually, these are numbers, but I'm not going to run any mathematical calculation with these numbers. These are only identifiers to identify each account. I actually won't even use them for sorting data because they're not in the correct order. I know the data, and you are supposed to know your data when you work with the data. And I know this column is not in the right order, in the same order as I would like the account names to be. So I'm not going to use these numbers actually. And so that's why I'm going to select the text data type, okay? And you can see that this column, the account names, they are in the same order as in Excel, which is the right order for the account names. And it's not following an alphabetical order, of course not, because this order follows the accounting standard. And let me just rename this table. I'm going to call it accounting chart _of_ accounts. There you go. And I'll close and apply to pass this table on to Power BI. There you go. And now I can see the table in Power BI. And, you know, when we're working in Power BI, by default, this filters pane keeps showing. And sometimes it's kind of a hassle unless you're actually wanting to use it. So this keeps eating up space. I don't want it to be eating up the space. So I'll just click the View tab and then disable the filters pane. And back to the Home tab, I will insert a table visual. Okay, it's a table visual. I have talked about this before. This is not my actual table. My table will be here. This is the table I actually imported from Power Query. This is a visual that looks like a table, and I'm bringing in the two columns that I have, and you can see that Power BI, let me make it bigger, easier to read, and you can see that Power BI doesn't have much respect about order. And now you have an alphabetic order, but it's not, the account names are not in the same order as the original table. And you can see, we just saw that in Power Query. Power Query will keep the same order of the original table, but Power BI will not. So we have to sort out this data. We can't use the code column because we know these codes are not correct. They are not in the right order. So I have to do something to make sure that the same order in Power Query, which is the same as in the original table, make sure that this will be respected by Power BI. And the index column is a solution for that. So to add a new index column, I have to use the Add Column tab, of course, whenever you are adding any type of column, you will use in Power Query the Add Column tab. And actually, that's why it's called like that. And you will use the index column button. If you click the little down arrow, you can see that the index column can start from 0. So 0 will be the first row, or you can start from 1, and then the index column is going to start from 1, or you can customize and decide from which number you're going to start your index. In this case, suppose I'm going to use 20. I need to use 25 for any reason. And you can select the increment. I'm going to use 5, which means my index column will follow this pattern. It's going to start from 25 plus 5, which is 30, then 35, then 40, 45, 50, 55, and this is why you use the increment. I will click OK, and there you go, the index column, just like I said, 25, 30, 35, 40. It doesn't matter to me in this example what the increment is and from what number I'm starting to count. It doesn't matter. What is important to me in this case is that it's going to be of an ascending order, just to make sure that I will keep the account names in the right order. And now I could, of course, rename this column, call it whatever I want. To me, index is okay. And now I'm going to move it on to Power BI. Okay, the table is now updated, and now I'm bringing in the index column, and there you go. Now there's an easy way to solve this problem. You can see that Power BI keeps trying to summarize or to aggregate the numbers because the index column is a numeric column, and you can see it's a numeric column by the little sigma icon. And this icon right here is just to let you know that this is a numeric column. And whenever visuals in Power BI recognize that the column is a numeric column, it keeps trying to, by default, it keeps trying to summarize your data. If you still don't know what summarization is or what aggregation is, actually summarization and aggregation are the same, but you need to understand what aggregation is, what grouping and iteration is. So all of these concepts are very important if you want to develop your skills in Power Query and Power BI. And we have specific lessons in this playlist. So if you haven't watched these videos, please go back, watch those videos, and will be very important for you looking forward. And I don't want Power BI to summarize this index column. So I will click this little arrow, and in summarization, I will click please don't summarize. Okay. And now all I have to do is click the column headers, and clicking the column headers, the visual will automatically sort these numbers in an ascending order. If I click it again, it's gonna sort it in a descending order. So click once, ascending order, click twice again, descending order. Okay, now actually I want it in an ascending order, and now the column names are correctly sorted. But the point is, I don't want this index column to appear in the visual. I don't want it to be appearing in the visual. I want it out. But if I remove it from the visual, then the sorting is broken. It's no longer correctly sorted. So how can I solve that? That's easy. You will click on this right-hand side panel, you will click the column that you want to sort correctly. You will click in this case, it's the account name. So I'll click the account column right here, and in sort by columns, I will select the column that I'm going to use as a reference for sorting out the data. And this is the index column, and I'll click index column. And now Power BI will correctly update the data and keep the right order. Okay, there you go. So this was a quick and easy example of how to add index columns in Power BI and Power Query and use it in Power BI to have correctly sorted data, correctly sorted rows, and a table visual. It would also work with other types of visuals, for example, matrix visual, and we will work on data visualization as we move forward to the Power Query course. And I hope you liked this video. If you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts or questions in the comments, and see you in the next lesson.